Governments and bureaucrats should not take away our freedoms in the pursuit of trying to stop some tax evasion. Rather, they should just remove tax altogether. If there was no taxes, there would be no tax evasion. Hey, how about they get rid of that? In my opinion, the KYC is an absolute joke. Mandated for exchanges, it's a centralized data vault begging for breaches. So guys, how can we beat this EU dystopian crypto regulations that are probably set to come to Australia? The thing you've got to think about is how can you protect yourself and your family? I'm Matthew Fraser, and this is Crypto Collective. After making millions with Amazon and e-commerce, I realized that if I was starting again today, crypto would be my first choice. I'm here to help you take your first steps and build real wealth. Ready to set yourself up for life? Let's go. Today, we're tearing into the EU's dystopian new laws set to roll out over the next couple of years, banning cash, strangling crypto anonymity, and turning Europe into a surveillance nightmare. Now, this isn't progress. It's a socialist power grab eroding financial freedom, privacy, and sovereignty. I'll outline the EU's twisted proposals, the massive threats to your privacy and control over your money, the crypto-specific horrors that'll make hodling a nightmare, whether Australia's Labor government is marching us down the same overreach road, the Tony Burke's crypto ATM crackdown as Exhibit A. Then I'll slam KYC, Know Your Customer, in Australia, how it's a worthless honeypot creating more risk than it solves, backed by real government hacks where our data gets weaponized against us. Finally, what else to brace for in this brave new world of government threat of our freedoms? So buckle up for red pilling reality. Or should I say, orange pill. We're calling out the bureaucrats, unelected control freaks pushing us towards digital serfdom. But remember, Bitcoin's our escape hatch. So let's dive in. So the EU's dropping the hammer with their anti-money laundering regulation called AMLR. And now this package is fully kicking in by July of 2027. Adopted in April of 2024, it's a trio of regulations beefing up their AML and counter-terrorism financial tools. Now the key hits: a blanket ban on cash payments over 10,000 euros. They're straight up outlawing large cash deals. And for anything over £3,000 in cash, mandatory ID checks, no more anonymous buys. They're framing it as fighting crime, but it's a kill shot to cash's privacy. But criminals are already using mobile phones, the internet, prepaid gift cards, AI technology, and of course cash. But there's been no call by governments to outright ban these items. Well, except for cash now in the EU, of course. Now the point is, governments and bureaucrats should not take away our freedoms in the pursuit of trying to stop some tax evasion. Rather, they should just remove tax altogether. That's what I would support. Now I know, crazy, right? But many countries already do this. Why can't Western countries, including Australia, simply get rid of taxes? If there was no taxes, there would be no tax evasion. Hey, how about they get rid of that? So it's all about control. That's what it is. So guys, crypto exchanges are getting gutted too. So let me outline these shocking new EU crypto rules for 2027 and take note as these rules could be rolled out across Australia too. So first of all, ban on anonymity. Anonymous crypto asset accounts and the use of privacy enhancing coins like Monero and Zcash will be completely prohibited. Supervision. Crypto platforms operating in 6 or more EU countries will be under the direct supervision of the Anti-Money Laundering Authority, right? They'll have full scope as to what you are doing. And enhanced due diligence. Crypto asset service providers must apply enhanced due diligence measures for cross-border correspondent relationships and transactions involving self-hosted wallets. How about this one? Transaction data collection. So for crypto asset transfers exceeding, wait for it, a big 1,000 euros, the providers must collect and make accessible data on the originator and the beneficiary of the transfer. Totally insane. And this one, expanded scope for entities. The anti-money laundering regulation broadens the list of entities that must comply, such as crowdfunding platforms and other what they consider high-risk sectors. This one's a great one too. Beneficial ownership. So the threshold for identifying beneficial owners has been standardized to 25% or more of ownership, leading to more frequent reassessment of organizational structures. So by 2027, every Bitcoin transaction over 1,000 euros needs ID verification, no exceptions. But you know where this is headed, right? Eventually, it'll be every transaction. We can see it. They are pushing this through the MICA, right, which is Markets in Crypto Assets Regulations. Now, this sets uniform rules across Europe for issuing, trading, and supervising crypto assets that aren't covered by the existing financial regs. So MICA ties it all together, forcing crypto firms to trace everything to prevent misuse, right? This is straight from the Socialist playbook. Centralized control, track every cent. Unelected EU commission drones deciding your spending limits. That's not freedom. It's feudalism 2.0. We will no doubt see a huge rise in decentralized exchanges as people try to keep their financial freedom. But how long that lasts is yet to be seen. Hey guys, real quick, if you're ready to take your crypto investments to the next level, check out Imperial Wealth. They'll show you their entire portfolio, share tips from their most successful moves, and their 35-person team watches the market 24/7 and recently tipped a coin that 5x'd in just 4 days. Click the link in the show notes to learn more. Now back to the episode. So these dystopian EU crypto laws are a direct assault on your financial sovereignty, your right to control your money without Big Brother breathing down your neck. Cash bans mean no more private transactions. Everything's logged, taxable, and censorable. In a cashless EU, governments can freeze accounts for wrongthink, like protesting or donating to an unapproved cause. It's programmable tyranny. Spend only on approved goods or your digital euros will expire. And privacy? Obliterated. Every purchase paints a profile for AI surveillance states. Financial freedom dies when anonymity dies. Hello, social credit scores like China's, where bad behavior locks you out of banking. And sovereignty? EU nations lose it to Brussels overlords dictating monetary policy. This paves the way for CBDCs, central bank digital currencies that make control absolute. So what's the worst case? Dissenters starved out, economies micromanaged into stagnation. And for crypto, it's apocalyptic. Mandatory ID on all transfers kills peer-to-peer magic. Your wallet's now a government-tracked database. Privacy tools banned? Yeah. Innovation stifled, devs flee to freer zones, exchanges become snitch factories, sharing data with authorities. Hodlers face retroactive taxes on old transactions or seizures if flagged suspicious. It's bad. Crypto's decentralized ethos, borderless, permissionless, gets centralized. Adoption tanks as normies fear surveillance. Black markets boom, but for legit users, a nightmare of compliance costs and lost liberty. This could crash markets, with BTC dipping as EU investors bail. So what could EU's dystopian crypto laws mean for Australia? Well, Labor's already dipping toes in overreach waters. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke's pushing legislation to empower AUSTRAC to restrict or outright ban high-risk products like crypto ATMs. Now, this was announced in October of 2025. It's aimed at scams and laundering, but it's a Trojan horse for broader controls. Of course, daily cash limits already in play, and full bans are on the table. Now, with EU as the model, expect cash caps here too, plus tighter crypto regulations. So no retail CBDC yet in Australia, but Treasury says no strong case as of yet, but they're exploring and privacy fears are real. So let's talk about KYC in Australia, because this all ties in. And you know what? In my opinion, the KYC is an absolute joke. Mandated for exchanges, it's a centralized data vault begging for breaches. It creates more issues, like hackers target these honeypots for ID theft and scams then skyrocket. But how's this? In 2025, we saw a 48% surge in breaches. Ransomware is rampant. You think the government's centralized database is safe and protecting your personal information? Sorry, there are plenty of examples of breaches. Here's one. Qantas 2025. Breach exposed passenger data. Scattered spider ransomware hit multiple organizations. Medibank in 2022 leaked 9.7 million records, and Optus too. How about Latitude in 2023? That exposed millions, right? So our data gets sold on dark webs, used for fraud. And then this whole KYC backfires spectacularly. It's just ridiculous. Okay, so let's look into the future. Expect the worst, I think. CBDCs with full built-in surveillance, programmable to expire or restrict your spending. Digital IDs linking finance to behavior. Global FDI screening, tightening on crypto investments. Blockchains for government services, but with privacy completely stripped. Cold War style digital currency races with anti-surveillance bills fighting back. So guys, how can we beat this EU dystopian crypto regulations that are probably set to come to Australia? Let's think about the solutions. In my opinion, hodl as much Bitcoin as you can and acquire Bitcoin in private avenues as much as possible while you still can. And remember, BTC is decentralized, sovereign money that cannot be stolen by government when held correctly in self-custody. So guys, let me give some final thoughts on this whole crazy dystopian EU crypto regulations. And yes, it could be rolling out into Australia. The thing you've got to think about is how can you protect yourself and your family? Now, I've already specified that you should be acquiring Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin is sovereign and cannot be stolen once you correctly self-custody your Bitcoin. The other thing you need to be thinking about is Plan B passports. Currently, not every country is so dystopian like the EU, and to a degree, there's high taxing governments in Australia. There are other countries that are more freer, particularly when it comes to crypto. So, number one, get as much Bitcoin as you possibly can in your own sovereign wallet. Number two, get a Plan B passport. Start doing your research now. Think about where else could you possibly move to if the shit really goes down. All right, guys, so let me know in the comments below. One, are you stacking more Bitcoin? Two, are you planning on a Plan B passport? Or perhaps you approve of these EU regulations and maybe you even think it should come to Australia, more surveillance state. Maybe you love that. Let me know in the comments. See you next time. Take care. Thanks for tuning in to Crypto Collective. If you've enjoyed this episode, the best way to show your support is to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode. You can also find more of me at I'm Matthew Fraser on all social media platforms.